G'day lads and lasses, the Australians back on this channel again, and I'm here to answer some pretty bloody stupid questions again. So let's get into it. Now these questions were sent in by an American who did some research in their country for me, and they got some 21 questions that are common amongst Americans that they have for Australians. So this isn't a BuzzFeed article, this is a consensus. So first cab off the rank, how old are Australian children when they start riding kangaroos to school? I thought we were over this, we ride emus now. How old are Australian children when they have to start learning how to wrestle crocodiles so they can survive? Well, at about 3 years old, they chuck you into the croc pit. If you don't come out alive, well, you weren't destined to be alive in Australia. Is the only city over there Sydney? Everything else is considered the bush or the outback? Yes, we only have one city. The rest of it's just bushes and sand and dirt and rocks and shit. How do Australians access the internet since there's no electricity in Australia? Really? Do the kangaroos the Aussie kids ride to school know how to avoid drop bears? We've already gone over this. We don't ride kangaroos, we ride emus. And yes, drop bears are a real threat. They're trained well to avoid drop bears when they come out of trees. Number 6, New Zealand is the name of Australia's biggest island right off the shore of Sydney's beach, right? Not sure if the Kiwis are going to like you saying that, but yes, we like to think that the Kiwis are lesser than us and they do belong off the coast because they are Kiwis. And yes, they pretty much can be considered part of Australia because, yeah, we're just better. Then number 7, he told me that people he knew were going over to Australia and wanted to hear the Vienna Boys Choir perform, and that means that they confused Austria with Australia. Come on folks, it's not that hard. There's an L in there. Austria, Australia. Number 8, where can I go in Australia to watch them race hippos? Well, you're not going to Austria. That's good, you got that part right. But you've also got another country, well not really a country, but a continent confused. You want to go to Africa to do that, not Australia. Australians use a metric system, so which way is north down under? South. Number 10, do Australians who come to the US have a hard time learning their language? They all speak it so well even though American isn't their first language. You do realize that it isn't called American, it's called Australian. And the question shouldn't be, do we have a hard time learning American? The question should be, do you have a hard time learning Australian? We got our own bloody language over here. Number 11, Australian cars have the steering wheel on the left side. Correction, American cars have the steering wheel on the right side. Doesn't that make it difficult for the driver seated on the right side? She has to reach all the way over to grasp the steering wheel. Okay, let's picture this. Steering wheel, here. I'm driving a car. I'm over here. I'm not gonna reach across and drive it like that. That's a stupid question. Number 12, doesn't it get tiring to eat shrimp day after day? All you guys say is pop another shrimp on the barbie. No, shrimp does not get tiring, mostly because it's prawns. We don't really eat shrimp that much here. Number 13, what does kangaroo taste like? Do you have to eat it every day too? Well, after all the kangaroos went obsolete when we replaced them with emus to ride to school, we had a lot of kangaroo meat left over. So of course we have to eat it every day or else it's gonna go off. And yes, kangaroo meat tastes yes. Number 14, is it true that Australia is the only country in the world where animals have the right to vote? In this case, kangaroos. As I said, kangaroos were made obsolete a long time ago by the emus, so we don't let them vote because, well, they're food now. And as for animals voting in Australia, I'm not really sure about that. Number 15, can I rent a car for a day in Auckland and return it in a few hours later in Sydney or Perth? Well, if your car's one of those James Bond things that can go across the ocean and you're not afraid of big ass waves, feel free to do it. Number 16, are Aboriginals basically Australian slaves? Where did you guys bring them over from? Well, you see, they were here first and we brought ourselves over. And as for the question whether they're slaves or not, no, they're not. You don't want to go saying that to an Aboriginal. 17, someone returning from a trip to Australia was very disappointed and said, I couldn't find a blooming onion anywhere. I don't understand. Number 18, will Australians think I am being rude if I speak English there? I do not have the time to learn the Australian language. Well, at least you get props for not calling it American And no, you will not be looked down upon if you speak English here, because we also speak English here. You will be looked down upon if you continue to ask stupid fucking questions. Number 19, I do not like to eat with my fingers. Will I be allowed to bring cutlery into the country? What is up with you people thinking that we're like some backwards country where we don't even eat with cutlery? First you say we don't have electricity. Secondly, you think that Aboriginals are Australian slaves. And then you think we brought animals to school and have to learn how to tackle them, and now you're saying we just don't eat with cutlery. Why? Number 20, I want to walk from Perth to Sydney, but I only have a few hours. Can I stop along the way for lunch? Well, of course you can, but you're going to need more than a few hours to walk from Perth to Sydney. And especially if you want to walk straight through the desert, because that's the way you gotta go. And number 21, why do Aussies think Americans are stupid? I wonder fucking why. G'day lads and lasses, that was another Aussie Answers video. Big thank you to John Paul Shimek for messaging me on Facebook and delivering those awesome questions, and thanks for the research and stuff. And I'm going to see you all in the next video. Hopefully this one was as funny.
Coming this summer, or winter if you're in the southern hemisphere. This channel started just over a year ago. Today it has 360 subscribers, which if you look at it, it really isn't that much.
Nowhere that I'm currently building a base on, but basically we just need to go to war with those people to get the kid to get the toy. I think I overcomplicated that. I'm pretty sure there isn't a story to this game, but we're gonna find out if there is. If there isn't, well, we're just gonna have to beat you.